Hey Joel, I am obsessed with ENA Dream BBQ, and it feels like the fever pitch of my fixations on Webcore coming fully front to the center, and finally me able to express them. For the uninitiated, Webcore is an aesthetic that expresses nostalgia for the early, less standardized era of the internet, primarily spanning to the 1990s to the early to mid-2000s. This period predates the widespread adoption of flat design, responsive design principles driven by smartphones, and the dominance of centralized social media platforms. You guys like that? I did research for this video. I'm making high quality stuff now. Basically, it's like the internet before Steve Jobs decided to ruin the whole thing with his corporate greed. Their greed sickens me. He's kind of like one of those cat videos of them trying to steal all the corn off the cob. That's how I picture billionaires. The Webcore aesthetic itself is fine. It's all about like loud and colorful hypergraphics. My other current obsession is a smaller game called Mindwave, which I like for similar reasons to ENA. But Mindwave is full of that aesthetic, that hyperactive manic episode nostalgia look. But what I really love about ENA is that it really uses that aesthetic as a juxtaposition that feels a lot more like a commentary on the direction that the aesthetic has taken as it's been more broadly adopted. We're going to get into a lot of cultural contemplation stuff here. This is probably the smartest thing I will say all day. I'm pretty stupid most hours. Most of the artwork I see around Webcore tends to dive into themes of manic states of mind and a longing to restore a taken innocence. At least I see that in a lot of the Webcore art that I connect with. There tends to be a sinister undertone of temporariness, as in all these error windows only serve to distract you from some bare, hard, traumatic truth that you'll see once you close all the tabs. There's a lot of overlap with Trauma Core being about putting childhood fixations in an unsafe environment, particularly Sanrio. Webcore music tends to hit the same spots in my brain as Breakcore, like with Femtonol, which I've been getting really into lately. I think you could also shove Maidcore into this category, though I've only just listened to a couple playlists of it. I'm not fully sure the history and social cadence of that genre, so don't take my word for that. Maidcore is cool, though. You should listen to Maidcore. It's really fun. I also mentioned a lot of the genres I just talked about in a lot of queer spaces, specifically a lot of trans films or feminine-leaning social spaces. It seems to me that this comes from the nostalgic aspect, where it's like remembering a version of the internet that existed before the designs of capitalism consumed it, and I think it's used in a way to reclaim a childhood of innocence and colors and fun that was stripped away by the society that denied them the childhoods that align with their real identities, even before, in most cases, they were able to identify what felt off about their lived gender experience. Now, while the ENA series has played off of addiction and bipolar disorder in the past, the video game kinda analyzes the history of Webcore itself by making it pretty thoroughly about capitalism. Play as essentially business ENA who's looking for the boss. We don't really know what that means, but everyone you meet claims to be the boss or is talking about a job or unemployment in the case of that one crazy lady. My favorite character, my queen, Coral Glasses, I am so down bad for her, is just a tired Russian businesswoman. Queen, come home, I'll make you dinner, I promise I'll take care of you. The only person who doesn't talk about business is the wizard, but he could also be seen as a metaphor for how capitalism creates employees purely so that they can have a workforce, draining the life from that. You probably have a job, so you know what I'm talking about. I think the game captures this interesting period of intersection where business is infiltrating the Wild West era of the internet as people figure out how to monetize it. It could be seen as a warning that if we are blinded by the funny Webcore stuff, we will forget that if we do not leave the Webcore space to touch grass from time to time, we will ultimately be weaponized as contributions to the monetization of the aesthetic, which was built as a rejection of internet monetization in the first place. ENA's constant work that has become more of a lifestyle to her ultimately ends up leaving her drained and empty and just actually literally just dead by the end of the game. But all the philosophical stuff aside, I also just like the game for a bunch of smaller, more simple, more silly reasons. Number one being which the game is silly. This game is the goofiest of goobers. I have been quoting this thing over and over. It's a whole vocal stim pack for the price of free on the Steam marketplace. Anything salesperson ENA says, or the wizard, or even that keyboard spam girl, I love this game. Everything I said about Webcore are reasons I love it, from the very ethos that I personally fall privy to just simply it's cute and chaotic and I enjoy it and have an addiction to monster energy, so I feel like Webcore applies to me. I like all the genres that I was talking about earlier in this video. As I work on my next installment for my music project, I have been listening to and taking inspiration from a lot of Webcore and Breakcore, having become massive elements as to how I write instruments and lyrics. Back on ENA though, the character designs are amazing. I am, again, so down bad for Coral, but every other character is also pretty amazing. There is a reason that this game took 5 years to develop. All the animation is so detailed, and the environments in the game have so much to explore, and so many people. Unironically, better environments than most Bethesda games. I am not kidding about this. But yeah, I'm pretty obsessed with ENA Dream BBQ. I need to go back to playing it, so I'm going to stop recording. Thanks for stopping by. I'd appreciate a like. Maybe leave your thoughts in the comment. I would be very grateful if you went and listened to some of my music. And good night.